What an honor it is for me to be here again today, to have an opportunity to participate in this wonderful memorial event. I thank the mayor of the city of Antioch, Larry and Virginia Thomas, who first got me involved in this event a year ago, and would take a chance to invite me back for a second time. I am very, very honored to stand before you as a living reminder of all those individuals who down through the years in whatever event or whatever campaign they may have been involved in, to honor them here today. People all across this great nation will gather much as we gather here today for the very same purposes. And each and every one of you here today deserve to be commended for taking of your time to be here. We traveled only about 15 miles to get here today, but several miles of that was through residential and business sections. I live on a street that's about 4 city blocks long. We live on the lower end of it. All up and down that street, there were only 3 flags flying. A ex-Marine, the flag at my house, and a neighbor across the street. All the rest of that travel, I made it a point to watch for someone displaying the flag who would remember and who would honor those people who have fallen to provide for them the liberties and the freedoms that they take for granted. I did not see another flag waving until we approached the entrance to this location. It made me think that a people who won't remember those who have sacrificed their lives in their behalf, those people themselves will soon be forgotten. Today, some of the highly placed individuals in our government and in our military will or already may have gathered at Arlington National Cemetery to honor, to respect, and to decorate the tomb of the unknown soldier. They put much effort into that. That tomb is guarded on a 24/7 basis, all through all kinds of weather. What would happen? What would happen if we could get a movement going, starting here today, that would make that same effort to locate and to honor the forgotten soldier? And believe you me, there are more of them than you imagine. Make it a point, not only on Memorial Day, but down through the year, to take a little bit of your time, maybe to go to a location such as this, or to a care facility within your community or a veteran's home. And I guarantee you that there you will find a forgotten soldier. I, through a church program that we belong to, was assigned as a home teacher to an individual who resides in such a facility. I go there, my wife and I, at least once a month to visit him, and I'm remiss there that I ought to go more often. But he tells me that with the exception of the 2 people that come from the church to provide him an opportunity to take sacrament every Sunday, and when she and I go to see him, he says, "You are the only visitors I have." I thought, well, maybe he's forgetting, so I asked staff members, and they said, to the best of our knowledge, you and those other people that come here to provide him the sacrament are the only visitors he had. It's kind of sad, you know, that people would forget. He served. He said, I fought the enemy. I went through those battles in the South Pacific. I came home and I'm proud of what I done. But nobody seems to remember. I think if we could get such a movement going, each and every one of us would find gratification in doing that. And I challenge you to let that movement begin here and now. To all of those who we honor here today, who have passed on, to all of those who have served, who are with us here today, I salute you for your service. And I promise you that I will always remember you. I had a dream, you know, let me put it this way. To each and every individual who has served down through the years, there will be one particular event that will remain with them every day of their life. It will live with them minute by minute during the day, and unfortunately a good part of the night. For me, that event, like I said before, happened over 70 years ago at Pearl Harbor. And this being the 70th anniversary, I wanted to put on a special lunch and remembrance in behalf of those individuals. And I was not able to get a lot of support to do that until Virginia and Larry Thomas, whom I hope are both here today, stepped forward and gave me the support and the help that I would not have been able to have gotten otherwise, and they made that dream come true. Is Larry and Virginia here today? Would you please come up here, please? Larry, are you still the president of the Patriot Sentinel Riders Club?
Right.
Yes, okay. Those, and he and many of his fellow Vietnam members were who you saw riding here today on the motorcycles, right? And that's only one of the many, many things that they do. To the best of my knowledge, they are involved totally and completely in bringing help and remembrance to each and every one that has served. You often help returning veterans, right? And I know that you've made efforts to do that. On behalf of all of the help that they have provided to me to get that luncheon going, which turned out to be a very, very successful event. They provided us a motorcycle escort to the top of the mountain to light the beacon, the first time that has ever happened. And I'm inviting them to do that, at least for as long as I'm still able to go to the top of the mountain. It wouldn't feel right going there without them anymore. Talking about that event, I had a chance to go back to Pearl Harbor in 2010. For me, the very first time in 64 years. I stood there on the deck of the USS Arizona Memorial. I looked over the side. Stay here, please. I looked over the side.
Nervous.
And remember those names of 1,177 individuals whose earthly remains are still down there, still aboard that vessel. I got to go back to the harbor inlet end of the island, stand on the spot where that very, very first bomb fell. The one that got to me physically, spilled in my blood, surely some of the first, if not the very first blood that fall at Pearl Harbor that morning. When we come home, my very sweet wife said, what was it like to go back there? You got to write something down for the family. So I did, and I came up with this, and me, it seems to work better if I put it in verse. And as a representative of those over 2,400 individuals who lost their life there that morning, I want to present this to Larry Thomas and the Patriot Sentinel Writers Club as a token of our appreciation for all that he has done. Larry. If you have been to Pearl Harbor and saw those rusting hulls lying there, see if it reminds you of them. For those of you who haven't yet been there, think about it before you go. From within those rusting hulls of sunken ships, reminders of what used to be echo calls to remember from those there entombed that freedom is never free. For those who answer duty's call in the air, on land, or at sea, where liberties and freedoms come under threat, that's where they choose to be. They all gave some, and some gave all. Those liberties and freedoms to save, but those valued treasures can only remain if protected by the gallant and the brave. The bombs blast, the cannons roar, the sights and sounds of battle, the cries of the wounded, the sighs of the dying, amid bursts of machine gun rattle. The fires, flames, the burning airplanes, the sight of sinking ships with death raining from the skies right before our eyes. How could we ever forget? Some man guns put up a fight of victory hoped to gain. They stood their ground, then many with their ships went down, and down there they shall forever remain. Those shipmates and buddies, forever they're lost, never to breathe air again, must always be honored and forever remembered, or their sacrifices will have been in vain. Some saw it all, got involved, each in his own way, and for those who did and still survive, it's like only yesterday. We've grown old, tried to move on, things we've tried to forget, but try as we will, those memories linger still. And for some, it's not over yet. Our seasons pass, the time draws near. The last survivors will have faded from sight. Then comes each following 7th of December. Will there always be those who will carry enough not only to remember, but to remember and then go to the top of Mount Diablo on that night and light the light? One last request, if I may, and I think I speak for all those who have given their life in service of their country, for all those such as I who have served and still survive. We have this one request, and I think maybe I can speak for all of them when I say this. When our journey here has ended and you've laid us down to rest, know that we valued your love and your friendships. They've been the very best. Don't let sorrow cloud your pathways. Cheerfully greet each coming dawn, joyful for all that we have shared. Life must go on. Don't send us loads of flowers or stand by our graves and cry. Come see us while we're living. Don't wait until we die. And someday in the great hereafter, who knows just where or when, we'll be missing you much and we'll be waiting until we meet again. Your life must go on. Thank you.